Hi, thanks for joining me. We're going to have a little look at some back bends today. So if that flashes up alarms for you in your body, just be mindful of that. Don't be tempted to go too deep into any of the back bends that we do. There's no need to go to your full range of movement. So just really being sensible with what you choose to do through our practice. These positions for the body, they'll always be there, so if you need to do them on a different day in a different way, then that's absolutely fine. So in all of our back bends, it's preferable not to have a twist. So thinking about the shoulders and the hips and the shoulders being square rather than twisting in all of our back bends, and being careful with how we transition in and out of positions. Okay, so I don't think we need any specific props. Yeah, so just your mat is all good. We're going to start standing because we actually want a little bit of core awareness for our back bends. We need those abdominals to still be engaging, especially the deep abdominals like the pelvic floor and stuff. Even though we're actually stretching out the abdomen, we still need some engagement of the core. So we're actually going to start standing. So just come to your mat, have your feet about hip distance apart, hands on hips to begin with, and just shut down your eyes, noticing any differences of the body under the hands there, noticing what happens when you shut down your eyes. Great, and then blinking open the eyes. We're just going to rock one way and the other way through the pelvis, so just swinging the hips forwards and back. It's a bit like the cat-cow motion, but we're standing. So exhaling, shortening the front of the body, and inhaling, lengthening the front of the body. So just seeing how that feels. And you can go ahead and bend your knees a little if you like, if that's feeling like a nice thing to do. And you can stay quite small. You might want to release the hands and make it bigger and more wave-like. That's all good. So a bit of free movement, just curling one way, then the other way. This is a chance to just get the body moving, and all the time we are moving in this kind of weird random way. You can be checking in, just noticing anything that's happening for you in the body. Great, and then just making this our last one, and coming to stillness. Great, and we're going to circle the hips a little bit. So again, hands on hips is quite good, but wherever you want them is actually fine. Just circling one way and circling the other, and we're just kind of releasing through the lower part of the torso, the front and the back and the sides, but also noticing any niggles, anything that's kind of getting flagged up as we begin to start to think about really flexing the spine. Great, then coming to stillness, and this time we want a nice straight line from crown of head to the feet. So no movement through the spine this time. And then we're going to start to just take circles with the crown of the head, but trying not to bend at the waist this time. So trying to keep everything strong and rigid. You'll notice that your feet kind of lift off at various points as you go round. That's totally fine. So nice and smooth. Matching it to the breath if you can. So notice if there's a point where you, as demonstrated, lose your balance, or if there's a point where you kind of find that you're bending from the hip. And then gently bringing that to stillness, we will change directions. Again, trying to keep the body nice and strong and rigid, but exploring the limits, so don't be afraid to kind of go to where you're going to fall. Don't fall over. Disclaimer. Don't do that. But you can explore where you might need to kind of just take a step and adjust the foot position or whatever. Great. And then coming to stillness, let's take a Tadasana or a Samasthiti, just a standing, in equal standing, shutting down the eyes again. Noticing anything that's happening in the body, what's flagging up, what's changed, where's your awareness drawn? And if we haven't already really connected to the breath, then just watching inhales and exhales as we do. Then getting a sense of, on your exhale, just lifting the pelvic floor a little bit, engaging those deep abdominals, and keeping some engagement as we take our inhale and filling up the ribcage to the side as we inhale rather than the diaphragm kind of pushing down too much into the belly. Feel like you can breathe in and open the lungs to the side. Right. And then keeping some of that engagement, so not super rock solid, but just a light engagement, a supportive engagement through those deep abs. We're going to take the arms into eagle arms, so right arm under left arm, and you might find that you can just go back to back, you might find that you can go all the way around. And just keeping shoulders over hips to begin with. Think about really engaging the leg muscles, dropping the tailbone down away from the head, again drawing in those abs, and just lifting the elbows, perhaps taking a wee bit of a back bend. Remembering we've got plenty of time to explore this, this doesn't have to be your biggest back bend ever. Just keep it nice and safe, see where you need to be right now. And then gently releasing. On an inhale, we'll stretch the arms out to the side, and exhale, we'll cross them the other way, so left arm underneath this time. Thinking about, again, working the leg muscles, dropping the tailbone down, drawing the abs in, and again, just taking a little bit of a back bend. So in all of our back bends, we want to keep the back of the neck nice and long, the heart space lifting, and the breath smooth. And then releasing. Lovely. Let's draw the belly muscles in again, drop the chin to the chest, we're going to roll all the way down, nice and slowly, trying to curve the spine as much as we can, so it's really the opposite of a back bend, just curving, curving, curving as we go down. And then on an inhale, drawing those deep belly muscles in again, curving all the way up. Great, and then let's go again. Drawing the abs in, chin to the chest, kind of feeling like we're pushing the middle of the back backwards a little bit before it starts to come forwards and down. And then curve it back up. Great, and just one more of those. We're just going to go down this time, so chin to chest, curling all the way down. And then this time, bending the knees, taking the hands down to the mat, stepping back to hands and knees. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. And then starting with the teeniest, tiniest, so the smallest movement you can in a cat-cow. So just on exhale, perhaps lifting the middle of the back a centimetre or an inch if that's too small. And then on inhale, drawing the heart space forward. So it's really small. See where the movement originates for you. So where does that movement start? Inhaling, tiny cow shape, exhaling, tiny cat shape. Seeing what needs to engage, what needs to work. Does it feel smooth or clunky? Where can you really tap into the sensations, and where is it a little harder to feel what's actually going on? We're going to gradually make them a little bit bigger, so each inhale you can go a little bit bigger, each exhale a little bit bigger still. Notice what changes as we go through, coming up to our normal sort of size of cat-cow about now. I'm going to start to add in on the exhale. We're going to keep the cat shape but also bring hips to heels. And then on an inhale, bending the elbows, leading with the heart space of sliding forwards back to where we started. Exhaling, lifting back almost through a child's pose, and inhaling, sliding forwards. You can go as big or not as you feel ready for. Just rippling through, making this your own. If you need to stop anywhere and really feel it, go ahead. And then coming back up to a neutral position, a nice flat back. We'll tuck the toes, keeping that neutral spine. Press the heart space back into downward facing dog. And just see, does it feel like you have a neutral spine, or does it feel like it bends one way or the other in your downward facing dog? What does neutral spine feel like in this position? What has to engage? What's under pressure? What's working? What's not working? And then we'll drop back down to hands and knees, and this time take child's pose, or if you would rather be upright after all of that inverted down dog, then feel free, obviously. Just take a moment, shut down the eyes if you can, and just check in with your breath. And then gradually releasing. Great. We're going to come up to kneeling, so if you need something under your knees, then great, go for it. Ow. On an inhale, we're going to reach hands up towards the ceiling, so stretching up, and exhaling, bringing them back down. And we're going to basically increase this movement as we go through. So inhaling, reaching up, maybe watching the thumbs this time, keeping the back of the neck long, and exhaling, bringing the hands down. Inhaling, again, look to thumbs perhaps, follow your hands with your gaze. Exhale, we're going to set the hips back down towards the heels and sweep the hands back towards the back of the mat. So inhaling, coming all the way up, maybe just to upright, maybe a little bit of a back bend. Exhaling, hips down, hands back. So match it to your breath. It just goes big or as small as you want to. Inhale, lift the heart space. Exhale, take the opposite action. Checking in all the while, are those belly muscles engaged? Are your leg muscles and your glutes engaged, especially in this back bend? We'll do one more of these. Inhaling up. And then we'll come back to neutral. And if you feel like you just want to take the pressure off your knees, that's a good thing to do now. Perhaps just a little bit of a wiggle, a shake, whatever you want to do. Perhaps just a stretch back. Couple of breaths on this side and a couple of breaths on the other side. Great. And then we'll come up again to that kneeling position, taking hands onto the back of the hips and using that as a guide to feel like we can drop the tailbone down away from the head, draw up those lower belly muscles, so keeping all of the engagement through the core, taking the shoulders, sliding them back, lifting the heart space, and just taking a little bit of a back bend without moving the hips. So hips are not going backwards, hips are staying over knees. Again, lift the heart space, back of the neck long. Watch your breath. One more breath. And then on an inhale, coming back up. Great. We're going to come forward to hands and knees, but the slightly long version, so elongated hands and knees. Keep the belly muscles working, squeeze the elbows to the back of the mat, lower all the way down to the belly, and have a wriggle out. Great. And then thinking again about just light engagement of the abs, tailbone lengthening away from the head, right hand around to right foot, and just stretching out the front of the thigh, so the quad, the hip flexor, wherever you feel it. You can rest dead. And release and swap sides. Good. And then release. Just let the hips relax for a second, rocking them side to side. And then coming to stillness, pressing the tops of the feet into the mat, bringing the hands around so they're kind of under the shoulders, so shoulder blades back and down. Again, keeping all of that awareness through the trunk, the torso of the body, and then inhaling, lift up into a little cobra. Exhale, release. So again, kind of rippling movements. Keep it nice and smooth and steady. Inhale up. Exhale, release. Really press the tops of the feet down as you go. And just one more of these. Resting this time. You might want to stay here and just let everything drop onto the mat, or it might feel better for you to come into a child's pose, whichever works for you. Again, I'm going to just be upright because it's a lot easier to speak to you, but either of those positions will do. Just allowing everything to settle, tuning in, taking your awareness in. What sensations are you experiencing? We're going to come all the way down onto our bellies again, so if you went anywhere else, let's just come forwards and down onto the belly. So you have some choices. If it was a real struggle to reach your feet today and you're feeling particularly tight through maybe the shoulder or the front of the thigh, whatever that is, then you could take a Sphinx pose, bringing elbows under shoulders, shining the heart space forward. So that is an option. It's a good option. It's not a shortcut. It's a good option. If you can reach your feet quite comfortably and it feels okay for you to do so, keeping the knees in good alignment, so not letting them splay out to the side, we can take the hands around, grab hold of the feet, check the abs are engaged, and then think about kicking feet into hands and really pulling with the hands and finding a bow pose. Keep the breath flowing, check it's feeling appropriate for you. Legs super strong. One more breath. And then releasing. Come back down onto your belly, letting everything settle and soften. Right. And from there, again, you might just stay where you are. You might take child's pose, you might come to upright. And again, just seeing what's going on for you. And if you are in child's pose or laying down, come up to this sort of position. Sitting or kneeling, it doesn't really matter, but just come up to upright for a moment. And we'll take some super gentle, easy twists. So not to your end range, stay away from your huge twists that we might do when we've done a really twisty practice. Just a gentle twist each way. Great. And just check in with you. How is this lower back feeling? If it's feeling like we've done enough back bending today, then we have done enough back bending, and I'm going to do more, but that doesn't mean you have to. If you're feeling like it's niggly, then you can just stop the practice here. You might do the full practice on a different day. It's really important. I'm always really wary of back bends. Just be really careful. I don't want you to hurt yourselves. So if you're happy to continue, if you feel like this is great for you, it's what you need today. If you love a back bend, I can think of a few of you who do, then we can come up to kneeling once again, but this time taking right foot forward into a little low lunge. And then on an inhale, floating the hands up. Exhaling, taking them out to the side. We're going to find eagle arms, so right arm under left arm. And again, thinking about keeping enough energy through the middle of the body to feel like you can lift the ribs up out of the hips without compromising the lower back. And again, maybe taking a little bit of a back bend here. Notice how it's changing, what your body is telling you as we go through and do more back bends. Back of the neck long, breath. Smooth and pressing down with your front foot, so keep the right leg active, both legs working hard in fact. And on an inhale, back up to neutral, and releasing the arms, releasing the legs. stepping left foot forward this time. Inhaling, arms go up. Exhaling them, taking them out and around, left arm under right arm, whoops, this time. So already press front foot down, press back foot down, glutes working, core working, shoulders back and down, taking as much or as little of a back bend as you want to take right now, lifting heart space more than anything else. Next, inhale, come on back, release the legs, and again, just some gentle twists. If you want to sit or take the hips down onto the heels, you can. Just a bit of easeful movement. Great. And then from here, hands down, let's find downward facing dog. Find a nice neutral spine once again. A good few breaths here to settle, to explore, to see what the body is telling us. And then from here, we'll step the right foot forward between the hands and come into a high lunge with hands on hips. Hands on hips is really helpful here because we can think about tucking the tailbone down away from the head, and if that means the back leg bends, so be it, that's totally fine. So thinking about dropping the back of the pelvis down, drawing the front of the pelvis up, just to keep everything working. And then from here, on an inhale, just reach the hands up, find a neutral high lunge. Check front knee over ankle, again both legs working hard. And then from here, we can take the right hand down towards the left thigh. So remembering about the point about not twisting, shoulders are square, hips are square. You can stay here, or if you wanted to, you can lean into that right hand, lift the heart space here, maybe sink a little bit lower into your lunge as your body allows, perhaps as you open a bit more, just finding what works for you, keeping the breath steady, keeping this feeling safe, useful, non-twisted, and just exploring. One more breath, and then gently returning. Let's take the hands down, step back with care to downward facing dog, finding a neutral spine once again. Seeing where the awareness goes. What's your body telling you? And then we'll step left foot forward. We'll build it up just as slowly on this side, even though we know where we're going. We'll come into it with care. So hands to hips as you come up into a high lunge, front knee over ankle. Drop the tailbone. See where you need to be with the legs to begin with. And then taking hands up to neutral, just remembering that both halves of the body are normally quite different, just doing what you need on this side of the body at this point. You can stay, you can take the left hand down to right thigh, you can maybe increase into a bit of a back bend if that works. Yeah, I'm a lot tighter on this side, I think. So you might be finding this easier or harder, just go with it. What do you need on this side of the body? Lift the heart space. Keep the breath flowing. And then on an inhale, back to neutral. We'll take the hands down, step back, downward facing dog once again. And then from here, carefully with ease, taking the knees down, finding child's pose, or again, all of those equivalents apply. Just a rest pose, allowing the body to settle, taking the focus in. Great. We're going to come down onto our backs with our knees pointing up towards the ceiling. pause here for a few breaths, just allowing everything to settle. So feel like your spine can just lengthen and really the muscles can spread down onto the mat. And then we'll cactus the arms, bring the knees together, and with care taking them down towards the left hand side. So super smooth transitions, even though we've done with our back bending, keeping the transitions here nice and steady and smooth, and keeping the right shoulder down if you can. You can stay here, or if you have a different twist in your practice, feel free. A nice one sometimes is to straighten off the top leg, or to bring the knees up a bit higher to stack them, maybe taking this left hand onto the thigh. Have a little experiment, see what the best feeling twist for you is right now. And then gently coming up to the middle. Is finding a symmetrical position in the middle once again, seeing what's going on now. And then again, cactusing the arms, bringing the knees together and carefully taking them down to the right hand side. And again, you have similar options in your twist this side. What's feeling good for you? Take a moment to experiment. And then super smoothly bringing everything back into the midline. And this time bringing the knees into the body. They might come tight into the chest, or you can experiment with perhaps taking them a little bit further away from the body, just seeing what gives you the best feeling of spreading and releasing through the lower back. And if you want to have a bit of a wiggle out, a bit of a sort of dipping in between the two positions, feel free. And gently coming to stillness, taking the knees wide, so knees are wider than ribcage. We're going to come into a happy baby. We've done lots of backbends, kind of lift the energy, they bring us up, they're energizing. We need a bit of grounding just to counteract that, so we're going to come into a hip opening, grounding, releasing happy baby. If that's not your pose, feel free to substitute, obviously, and if you can't reach the feet, then a strap might be really helpful, or you can just hold behind the thighs. That works really well. So we're going to take this for a good few breaths, and again, you can put some movement in, you can play around with the angle to get the best kind of sense of broadening, spreading across the lower back. Seeing where you need to be with this. Feeling the ground, the mat underneath you kind of come up and support you in this grounding position. You might think about breathing into the back of the body. Breath or two more. And then just hugging the knees into the chest once again. Taking a moment to have any last stretches, wriggles, anything that you need before we hit Shavasana. And if you are ready for your relaxation, just checking that you are really comfortable. So we did a very specific practice with the backbends. There might be just something specific that you feel you need to match that with in your shavasana, whether it's knees bent or whatever. So really make sure that you are set up and supported, that you are warm, that you are comfortable, and enjoy your shavasana. Thank you so much for practicing.